Thanks for staying with us. You're watching The Agenda. My name is Desiree Chauke. Let's continue with the show now. Youth-related issues remain in sharp focus this month, with challenges such as drug and alcohol abuse, unemployment, ill health, among others. Many agree that an all-hands-on-deck approach is what's needed to find solutions to these problems. The Africa Alliance of YMCAs vouches to be the largest Pan-African youth network, established in 1977. It brings together YMCAs in 20 African countries. They're focused on youth empowerment and are concluding their 11th General Assembly in Johannesburg under the theme Powered for Renaissance, Youth in the Driving Seat. Purity Kiguatha is the Africa Alliance of YMCA's Operations Executive, and she joins us now in the studio. A very good morning to you, Purity. Thank you so much for making the time. Like myself, I imagine many other people out there in the world, when they have recollections of growing up, there's a YMCA in there about how you went there, had meetings there, interacted with other youth in there. What is the YMCA of the 21st century? What does it look like?
Okay. The YMCA of the 21st century remains to be rooted as a grassroots organization. So what you have experienced, your YMCA... It
actually brings very fond memories.
Your YMCA in your local area, that continues to be a key focus for us, because we want to be rooted in the community, but we are also working to being very relevant to the needs of the young people, particularly. The YMCA is open to both the young and the old, but we have a specific focus for young people aged between 15 to 35, which is the definition of the youth according to the African Union. Actually, just in Africa, but in the world, it's up to 30. But for Africa, it's up to 35. So our focus continues to be that, and we continue to remain in communities where we are easily reachable and we are safe spaces for specifically young people.
But now tell me, in South Africa, we are marking Youth Month in June. With the existence of organizations such as YMCA, why are youth challenges not dissipating?
I would say that it's because we are not prioritizing young people. We are doing a lot around many things, health and economics and the political space, democratization, and which is good, but we are not prioritizing young people in those spaces. And yet young people constitute the largest population in almost every African country. 70%,
certainly in South Africa.
Exactly. Over 70% of our populations in most African countries is made up of people aged below the age of 35 years old. So getting young people in the decision making, prioritizing them as fast users of the services that we are producing or providing is very important. So for as long as we are not prioritizing them, then their issues continue to grow and continue to be a challenge.
The health, or rather the challenges of youth, as you've just mentioned, as health and education, are always out there in the open. But the volunteers of your organization have gone into much more difficult situations, such as war-ravaged parts of the African continent. Tell us about the issues there.
Okay, there's a lot of young people involved in crisis and criminal and conflict situations. If you think of, say, Islamic State, Al-Shabaab.
Let's say Sudan, for argument's sake.
Sudan, for argument's sake, there are a lot of young people. There was a lot of recruitment of child soldiers. These child soldiers now are young people, and they're young people in crisis. Post the war, if I put it that way, post the war, what do you do with these young people who, in their childhood, the only life they knew was war?
All they know is an AK-47.
Exactly. And now these are the people you're also expecting to build this country. So there is a crisis there, and there is a gap that we must begin to address in terms of education, in terms of skills building, in terms of even the subjective competence of young people, reorganizing their mindset towards development, because what they have known in their childhood has been conflict. And so that's what the YMCA is positioning itself to be, a safe space to deal with some of the psychosocial issues that are related to conflict situations, and then positioning them for the skills and the potential that they have.
You're in Johannesburg now. Are you Johannesburg based?
Yes, we are in
But you're having a meeting now. You're having the 11th AGM, and in that conversation, how do you incorporate the such different aspects of what your different officers have to do wherever they are?
We have a philosophy we call from subject to citizen. It's about empowering young people to be aware of what the root causes of the problems in their societies are. It's about empowering them to articulate these issues to the right people and being the agents of change in their community. And that philosophy guides the work in the different contexts. So every YMCA, wherever they are able to put this philosophy that what we are working to produce is citizens who deal with whatever the issues of our community are. And we have the tools that help actualize that particular process of producing citizens. So it doesn't matter whether a YMCA is dealing with health, is dealing with youth justice, is dealing with young people in political participation. That philosophy guides us in terms of what we want to do. And so the different YMCAs will pick the particular issue that is of greatest importance in their community.
Some topics, like, for instance, justice, are universal.
Yes.
How do you have those conversations?
We know that, for instance, even in South Africa, you have a big issue with crime, and it's young people right at the center of that. And we are working with that in South Africa, in Togo, in Madagascar. And our approach has been working with young people who are at risk of coming into conflict with the law. These are young people living on the streets, uneducated, and these are the people who are likely to get into crime as a way of making a living, so to speak. And so we are working in the prison, we are working with the justice system, we are opening our spaces as safe spaces even for after-school programs so that the young person is not left idle in the streets and to bad influences, to drug and substance abuse, all these things that contribute to young people being involved in crime and coming into conflict with the law. So the idea is to provide an alternative and a holistic space for young people to develop themselves and reduce their risk of getting into crime.
Take us into the agenda of this specific General Assembly you're having.
Okay, so the theme of our assembly, as you rightly put it, is Powered for the Renaissance Youth in the Driving Seat. The Agenda 2063, which is the African Union's strategic plan.
So involving them in that conversation already.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
It's the strategic plan for the continent up to 2063. So we are using that as our guide, and the Agenda 2063 says that young people and women need to be in the driving seat of the Renaissance of Africa. So our work is to rally young people, give them the right skills, and to enable them to influence in the global space. So our conversations is coming together to share learning from the different countries. As you rightly put it, we are in 20 countries in Africa. We have 17 present now in Joburg. And we are discussing about what are we doing together and what are we prioritizing in our countries and in our communities, and how do we amplify our voices so that the whole of the continent knows this is what the YMCA stands for and this is how you can connect, because the YMCA is a membership movement and it's open to anyone. Anyone who wants to bring a transformation in their community is welcome to join the YMCA.
And when we say you have a presence in countries, it's not like you have an office in a country, you're in different communities in that country.
Exactly, we are in different communities in that country.
That's quite a huge network.
It's a very huge network. We are counting about 330 local associations across the continent.
A person watching now, a young person thinking, I want to get involved, how do they interact with the YMCA?
The YMCA, they just walk into the local YMCA and the staff there will be ready to receive them and let them know of the different programs they are running. Our membership is open to even as young as children who are 10 years because we want to start as low as possible and prepare a new generation of young people who are transformational and innovation.
So we're moving into the digital era, and how is the YMCA taking that on in terms of your online presence and how people can interact online as opposed to walking into a branch?
We are very present on social media. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter. So you just need to find us as Africa YMCA. All our handles are Africa YMCA, and you're able to interact with us. on a weekly basis, we are running campaigns on issues around masculinity, on issues around countering violent extremism, youth justice. So every day there will be a certain topic we are conversing about. So we are very active there and looking to engage young people because that is where they are present.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so
to
much
talk
for
to
having
us. Purity Kiguatha is the Operations Executive at the Africa Alliance of YMCAs.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're watching The Agenda. Let's take a break.